Hi, my name is Adam Cox. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, phobia expert, founder of phobiaguru.com, and the UK's leading expert at eliminating phobias rapidly, quite often in just a single session. Now, claustrophobia is also known as the fear of small or enclosed spaces. And quite often, it is a fear of being trapped and not being able to escape. So weirdly, in that sense, it has similarities between claustrophobia and agoraphobia, that even though agoraphobia is generally outside, it leads to this feeling of being trapped in certain circumstances. It's different in the sense of the size of the space, though. So generally, someone with claustrophobia would be worried about being trapped in a small room, or trapped in a lift, an elevator, trapped, sometimes they'll have nightmares about being trapped in a coffin, for example. So these tends to be one of the big fears of someone with claustrophobia. Now, generally, there are only two fears that you're born with: fear of loud noises and fear of falling. So this fear of being afraid of being in small spaces or trapped in an enclosed space is a learned fear. Generally, it's either learned from a parent or a family member, or through a sensitizing event. Now, in my experience, it's more likely to be a sensitizing event than learned from a family member. So, for example, many children, when they're playing with siblings or, let's say friends, they might play fight, they might play games, and sometimes it might be the case that they are smothered. So there might be two or three children jumped on top of them, or they might be put, in a cupboard or a box or something like that, and then kept in there. And even if that is just for a few seconds too long, it can create an overwhelming feeling of anxiety. And that only has to happen once. And it may even be that if you're an adult with claustrophobia, you don't even recall the initial sensitizing event, the point of inception at where this fear came from, but it isn't necessary to know where it came from in order to change it, fix it, or eliminate it. Now, the symptoms of someone with this fear are two things. The number one coping strategy for any fear is avoidance. So they will go to great lengths to avoid enclosed spaces. So they will take the stairs instead of lifts. They will avoid small rooms. If there is a crowded train, for example, they'll wait until there is a more spacious train. They will go to great lengths to avoid putting themselves in a situation where it will increase the anxiety. Physically, the symptoms are elevated heart rate, rapid breathing, a feeling of tightness in the chest, a feeling like they might have a heart attack, a feeling of either panic or maybe even having a panic attack if they find themselves in those situations where they're in an enclosed space and feel like they can't get out. And that's a really important thing. It's the perception of being trapped or enclosed that creates the feeling of anxiety. Now, the implications of this aren't just avoidance, are that it can actually lead to panic attacks. And the panic attacks then create more of a belief that they can't cope in those situations. So quite often, these phobias, they grow over time. They become bigger and more intense over time, because when people are anxious, that then compounds and reinforces the very anxiety that they're in. Now, the solutions to this, I tend to use a combination of third wave CBT approaches, clinical hypnotherapy, certain principles within neurolinguistic programming, also known as NLP, so that we can get to a point where we can rewire the associations so that people could be in a small space and not feel trapped. And that's the thing. They've got to feel safe even if they're in an enclosed space, to really break that pattern. And I've done it many, many times, so I'm very confident that I can break this pattern. There's a couple of ways in which people work with me. One is that I've got a 7-day download course that people can just download the content, lots of hypnosis downloads and exercises, and that can help. But for some people, they prefer to work with me one-on-one, so I can tailor my approach to their specific situation and needs. And then we can practice what it would be like to be in certain situations just in their mind's eye, first of all. And if they can experience that, that's going to give them confidence that they can actually break this pattern in real life. If you know someone that has a fear of small spaces, if you know someone that is claustrophobic, please share this video with them because they might find it useful. If you have any questions about this fear, please drop a question in the comments. If you want to share your experience of being a claustrophobic, please also do that in the comments because it's going to mean that other claustrophobics don't feel that they're isolated and alone. A lot of people with extreme phobias feel that they're the only one that has this fear, so you're going to help them by sharing that. If you would like to work with me or consider working with me, there'll be some kind of link nearby where you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation call to see if I'm the right person to work with. And if you would like more information on claustrophobia or any other phobias, please go to my website, phobiaguru.com. Thank you.